San Juan Island's 1859 Pig War brought home the Canadian bacon. Just as with classic fairy tales, any mention of the Pig War brings lessons to mind: folly, courage, arrogance, the wisdom of restraint. Add an enchanted setting, San Juan Island, and this compelling slice of Pacific Northwest history is well worth revisiting. Once upon a time, on June 15th, 1859, 27-year-old Lyman Cutler, a squatter on the island, discovered a pig pillaging his potatoes. The lanky Yank had driven the spud-loving critter off his land more times than he could count, and the $10 he'd invested in a peck of potato seeds was disappearing with every bite. "Upon the impulse of a moment," he later wrote, "I seized my rifle and shot the hog." To Cutler's credit, he immediately admitted the offense. His 160-acre stake stood on disputed land operated by Canada's Hudson Bay Company as a sheep farm managed by its agent Charles Griffin, owner of the deceased pig. Cutler offered to replace the animal with one of his own or pay cash for it. Well, this infuriated Griffin. "You Americans are nothing but a nuisance on the island, and you have no business here." More heated words followed, as did a threat to arrest Cutler and try him in Victoria. To this, the American provocatively patted his Kentucky rifle. This seed of what rapidly became an international incident had been planted 13 years earlier. In 1846, the Treaty of Oregon established the 49th parallel as the international boundary between America and the British Crown colony, exempting Vancouver Island. The nationality of dozens of San Juan Islands, however, had been left unresolved. The Boer's demise in 1859 brought that prickly stalemate to an end, with American settlers seeking protection from the U.S. military. From Fort Bellingham on July 27th, bellicose U.S. Brigadier General William Harney dispatched 66 troops, led by an eager Captain George Pickett, who was prepared to fight to the last man. In response, 3 British warships were sent by James Douglas, the truculent British Columbia governor, also spoiling for a fight. Only the restraint of cooler-headed associates, refusing to go to war over a pig, prevented further bloodshed. Several months later, the two countries agreed to a joint occupation until a border settlement could be negotiated. To that end, American camp was established on the south side of the island, while English camp occupied the north end. Finally, in 1872, with Germany's Kaiser Wilhelm arbitrating, the San Juan Islands were granted to the United States. A fairy tale ending, perhaps, if only for Uncle Sam. In our first then photo, the American camp parade ground sprawls above Griffin Bay. Erected within a year of Lyman Cutler's shooting of Hudson Bay Company agent Charles Griffin's pig, the camp stands on the southwest side of San Juan Island, 10 miles across the Haro Strait from Vancouver Island and the city of Victoria. In our second then photo, the English camp blockhouse stood in this undated view at the north end of San Juan Island. Over 13 years of joint and mostly amicable occupation, a well-traveled road connected it with the American camp. On November 25, 1872, British forces withdrew from the island. In our first now photo, Karen Chartier walks from American camp, which overlooks Haro Strait. The original officers' quarters, the only extant camp buildings, still stand at left. In our second now photo, the English camp blockhouse, from a quarter-turn perspective, looks across idyllic Garrison Bay. In our third now photo, though no extant photos of Lyman Cutler can be found, his double-barreled shotgun remains.